Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome everyone to the Board of Education room here in Anne Arundel County. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the second community meeting concerning Phase 2 redistricting. Just a few things. First of all, I'd like to make sure that everybody understands, even though we're sitting up here on the dais, that this is not a meeting of the Board of Ed. This is a community meeting concerning Phase 2 redistricting. I'd also like to make the statement that It's unfortunate, but Dr. Bedell is not able to be with us this evening. Our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. There was a loss in the family, and so he was not able to be here this evening. However, this meeting is being recorded, and he will be getting all of the information and the data from this meeting. And so one final statement is, ladies and gentlemen, redistricting does mean that some students will be going to different schools. And I've said that multiple times. And this is a very important topic for everybody. We are here tonight to be good listeners, and we will do that. We thank everybody for being here this evening. So, Dr. Heiser.
Is it on now? There we go. Well, thank you, Mr. Soakworth, and I want to reiterate our condolences to Dr. Bedell, as well as the importance of, I know how important it is for all of you that the superintendent hears from you, for those that are speaking, and this is being recorded so that he'll be able to watch all of those things, and our staff is also here in terms of garnering feedback from everyone tonight. So because he is not here, what I'd like to do is just repeat some of the phrases and things that he said at the previous meeting, which was quite successful. Tonight is an opportunity, obviously, for input, to hear from you, the community. It's also a brief opportunity for me, just like I did in the previous meeting, for those that may not have been on the web tool and may not have seen all the information in depth. It's an opportunity. That should do it. I apologize. There's a brief opportunity for me to go through a PowerPoint presentation. So for those that attended the last community meeting, thank you for your patience as you hear those slides again. For those that are new to this, welcome. We had great input at our first meeting, which was held at Southern High School. We had 30 speakers, just like we will have tonight. Everything tonight will be on our website and posted. Again, Dr. Bedell reiterated this, and I want to emphasize this, that he has made no recommendations to the board yet. None at all. Everything that is said tonight, all of the comments that will be posted online, everything that's been submitted, not everything can be implemented, but you can bet that everything will be heard. There is no question answer in terms of this community event tonight. However, it's an opportunity for us to listen and hear from each of you. We understand that there's a lot of emotion in this decision. We have a long way to go before we make the decision. With that, thank you in advance for being good listeners tonight. Thank you for your respect as we work through this process, and we're looking forward to the comment period. With that, I'd like to head right into this very brief presentation about redistricting phase 2, again, to try and level set for everyone. All right. To level set for everyone that was not at the first meeting or for those who did not have access to the website tool. Again, we went through phase 1 redistricting and implemented that in 2024 in phase 1 with the clusters that are mentioned on the screen there to the left side, the northern region of our district. Phase 2, as you know, is now occurring, and it's going to be implemented in school year 26 with the areas of Annapolis, Arundel, Broadneck, Crofton, Severna Park, South River, and Southern. To give everyone and to remind you all of the calendar which we're working by, you will see that we introduced the web tool for community feedback. Many of you have likely submitted on that. We're now holding community meetings. Those were not initially a part of the process. We heard from from everyone that that was very important to the community. So to Dr. Bedell's leadership, we added the 3 community meetings. We're going to work through the summer in terms of working towards a recommendation for the superintendent. And Dr. Bedell will recommend to the board in July the recommendation or recommendations. There could be 2, there could be 3. I'll get there in just a moment, please. The board will then select which options they want to vote on. We'll do a public briefing in September, a public hearing in October, once again, to get feedback and hear from everybody in the fall. And then the goal is for the board to adopt one of the recommendations in November and for implementation in August of 26. Why are we redistricting? We have enrollment patterns that have shifted, 14,581 seats that are available. Many of you have heard about programmatic changes that are taking place as it results related to the blueprint, whether it be pre-K or increased planning time for teachers or community school spaces in schools. All of those have an impact on how we utilize our buildings. Also, new school buildings. When we redistrict, it allows us to access funding from the state and local so that we can make sure that we make the best investments possible. As you've also probably seen and heard, that we're undergoing a long-range master plan for the next decade, really important to look at. And so this plays a key role in that and how we're utilizing our school facilities. In addition, there are building additions and constructions and alterations that we need to make and get funding for, all related to how we're utilizing our buildings. Some factors and considerations. It's always important to think about the regulation by which we're working from. Those are some of the factors and considerations that we are trying to balance in our mind and consider. You see that we're thinking about what are the long-range enrollment trends and capacity needs, what are the state-rated capacity of each building, how are we using the natural or man-made boundaries when we think about adjusting those boundaries, thinking about feeder patterns, trying our best not to have split articulations, not always possible, but these are things that we consider, as well as the specialized programs that we have. That important note, I do want to just pay attention to that. It's really impractical to reconcile each and every one of those bullets. We try our very best. We try to balance everything, but it can be difficult at times. The enrollment trends, it's important to take a look at these. If you look back to 2014, going back 10 years ago, we were at 79,000 students. We're currently just above 85,000 students. And when we look to 2033, our school system will be at 91,000 students. And so Dr. Bedell has always said that we have a good problem on our hands, whereas around the country and even around our state, that most districts are not growing. We are growing. We are a school district and a county where people want to live and work and go to school. And so this is a good problem that we have, but it's a challenge for all of us, as we know. When we think about school capacity, current and future, as I mentioned before, there are a total of 14,581 available seats currently. And again, that's projected to be reduced to about 9,000 available seats. As you see, the utilization at each level, elementary, middle, and high school. Currently, this is an average. There's an 84% utilization across all of our schools at the moment. Going to 2028, you see that increases to 87% and then to 89%. Keep in mind, and I'll show you in just a couple of minutes, a few slides where these are averages, and you may look at them and say, we don't have a problem at all or a challenge. What's overutilized? And so I'll get into that a little bit in just a moment. When we think about the elementary level, there are really 6 schools at the moment that are overutilized, and you see them listed there: Odenton, Wauchapel, Four Seasons, Belvedere, Davidsville, and Tracy's. And you see the SRC that is there, the state-rated capacity, and our current enrollment, and then you see the utilization rate. And you see all of those schools are currently over 100%. And then you see on the far right side the projection for those enrollments at those schools. We'll say also that you see the map to the left, and while it's a little bit difficult to see, you'll see that there are 2 additional schools that'll reach over capacity by 2033. Again, all of this will be posted on our website. When we think about middle schools and look at middle schools, you'll see that there's one current, it's overutilized middle school, and that's Crofton Middle School. Their SRC is state rated capacity is 1339. Official enrollment is 1345. And again, they're just over 100% capacity. They're projected to grow, obviously, to 1444. So you see that. You'll see the map to the left as well. Again, this is the middle school map. And there are 2. Crofton is in the pinkish color there, and the other school is Arundel. Arundel Middle School is currently at 95% utilization, but projected in 2033, again, to be over 100%. At the high school level, you'll see, and this is not new to anyone, as we see some different colored shirts here. You're very familiar with this issue, and so we've got Annapolis High School with an SRC of just over 2,000 with enrollment barely underneath at 99.6%. And so we see that that school will be growing as well to 2199, and that will be over 100%. Crofton High School as well, in terms of 17, they've got an SRC of 1722. And I will say that their official enrollment right now is 1906. And they currently have utilization of 110.6 at 1880. I do want to say something really quickly about the SRC. There's been a little bit of misinformation, I believe, from what I understand around the SRC. Keep in mind that the SRC is really under the state purview, and that's of the IAC, the Interagency Commission on School Construction. They oversee these SRCs. We submit information, and we submitted actually for Crofton, for example. We submitted in the fall to get it updated. And so we have that, and they determine, again, their formulas for the SRC, really important to point out. And so this is, we're confident in these SRCs. And again, there's some debate, I think, from 1 or 2 communities around that issue. But in terms of our office, just keep in mind the IAC oversees that piece with the SRC. And we'll continue to take a look at all of our schools in the SRC and where they are. I did want to draw attention to the web tool. Again, many of you have been on this web tool, which brings you here tonight. But for those that have not, I encourage you to go to the web tool. It's very robust. It talks about redistricting, and this is the front page of our Phase 2 redistricting site. When you click on it, you'll see, let me go back for a second, you see Explore Preliminary Scenarios. If you click that link, you're able to do so, and you're able to zoom in on areas. You'll see shaded areas, for example, and those are areas or geographic regions that are intended for a change based on the scenarios. You see on the left side, it says existing, and so you're able to select existing at each level, elementary, middle, or high school. That'll help you see what the current boundary is. And then you're able to see what the consultants have come up with, scenarios 1, 2, or 3 at each level to be able to look into that. One great aspect of this tool is that you can zoom in on a particular area, and if you double click on a particular school, and for this example, I used Annapolis High School, and so you see the school information along with utilization rates and enrollments and what anticipated utilization rates may be if scenario 1, 2, or 3 were one of the options. So I just wanted to point that piece out for you. Many of you have seen that. I think it's really important for me to mention that the consultant has come up with 3 scenarios that you see there. The C stands for current situation. This is a summary page, which is also, it's in this presentation, obviously, but it's also on the website. This allows you to see some of the positives, some significant improvements with a green arrow up, or perhaps a negative impact that may be with one of the scenarios at each level, and you see that by a red arrow down. Minimal change means there's a gray dash mark. I do want to mention, when we look at this slide specifically, it's looking at utilization, distance to school, assignment stability as 3 areas that we're looking at with 3 scenarios. Now, those scenarios are not options. So it's important to keep that in mind. At no time has there been an option yet in front of the superintendent where he'll bring that to the board, okay? And it's likely that perhaps an option or options that are presented to the board look somewhat very different from what's proposed here. Again, this is a starting point. It's a framework for us to start and try to look at what boundaries may look like. And so I think it's important to say also, because it's with the comment section, there's a comment section on this in a survey that's a part of our website that you saw in the previous slides. Every single comment and every single survey is being captured, it's being read, and it's also given the same amount of weight. You could submit something and call it option 20. Right now, let me remind you, there are no options, right? It's not our option 20. And so it's important to say that we're going to take every single bit of advice that we've heard at Southern, that we hear tonight, and that we hear on the 29th at our next one, with a great deal of importance. We're going to be great listeners, as Mr. Silkworth always mentions each board meeting. And we're going to be listening for good factual information. This is an emotional issue, totally understood, but we want information that we can take, that our team can take, and we can digest, and we can take it back to the boundaries and the drawing boards and start to see how that impacts what an option or options may be for a future superintendent recommendation. So I thought it was important to mention that. I mentioned the web tool in the comments, so I won't belabor that point, but I do want to encourage you, if you haven't done so already, please go to the web tool, make sure you submit a comment. We will read all those comments and make sure that we're taking those into consideration and thinking them through. It'll be open until May the 15th. Previously, it was going to be open until May the 1st. We added these meetings, and so we extended it 2 weeks so that we can make sure we get everyone's input. And for those that are perhaps a little late to these presentations, would have the time to be able to submit a thoughtful comment. So that will be available. So with that, thank you so much for your attention. I appreciate it. And I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Mosier as we go through the public comment period.
Thank you, Dr. Heiser. Just go over how things are going to work tonight. Tonight's 30 speakers were determined by a random, unweighted lottery and have previously been notified of their slot to speak. I will call them forward in groups of 5. Each speaker will be allotted 2 minutes. A yellow light will come on the dais when you have 30 seconds remaining, and a red light will come on and a tone will sound when your time has expired. Please be respectful of the time limitations so that we can hear from everyone in a timely manner. Speakers may not allocate any portion of their time to others. You may stand at the podium or be seated at the table, whichever you prefer, to deliver your comments. Please pull the microphone close to you so that you can be heard. If your testimony runs beyond 2 minutes, I'd ask you to please submit it through the online portal that Dr. Heiser has just gone over. As is the case at Board of Education meetings, student-specific and personnel matters may not be discussed in this forum. As is also the case at board meetings, please keep comments civil and appropriate for the audiences that are watching this meeting. I will apologize in advance for any mispronunciations of names, but we'll do the best I can, and we'll call the first 5 speakers. Lisa Grant, Alan Gauthier, Matthew Kelly, Leah Bruckart, and Joseph Perry.
Hi, My name is Lisa Grant. I was a school psychologist in this county for 14 years, and now I'm the owner of Rundle Psychological Associates, where I do psychoeducational evaluations as well as counseling services. I'm a proud Jones parent. This is my daughter Ella, who attends first grade at Jones. One of the proposed redistricting plans suggests that Jones Elementary School students attend Severn River Middle School from 6th to 8th grade and then transfer over back to Severna Park High School for 9 through 12. This plan is deeply concerning as it risks the mental health and well-being of these students by creating social isolation and negatively impacting their social, emotional, and academic outcomes. Adolescence is already a challenging time marked with emotional turbulence and developing brains that struggle with emotional regulation. The CDC reports that 40% of high school students feel persistently sad and hopeless, and 20% seriously consider suicide. Locally in 2021, Anne Arundel County was one of the highest rated counties for suicide rates in the state of Maryland. Between 2005 and 2010, the Severna Park community was well above the national average, and it's had its own tragedies. This has led to a significant amount of mental health awareness efforts within the Severna Park community. Severna Park continues to be a high pressure, high achieving environment. The current plan would introduce even more pressure for Jones students specifically, who would be separated from their peers at a critical developmental stage. They would face the challenge of forming new friendships and support systems only to be uprooted when transitioning to high school. When they return to Severna Park High School, they will be placed in classrooms where only one other familiar student would be present, and 90% of the rest of the class would have had experience together. This fragmentation leads to increased probability of anxiety, depression, and lower academic outcomes for Jones students. Research shows that sense of school and community
Please
connectedness
summarize.
is vital, and this school connectedness is very important to keep consistency for our Jones students to improve their mental health well-being. Thank you.
Alan Gautier.
Good evening. My name is Alan Gautier. I live in Odington and have 3 kids, one at Arundel High and starting next school year, 2 at Arundel Middle. Right now, though, having 3 kids in 3 different schools is a lot to juggle. That's why I'm bald already and my wife's hair is gray. Like many in the area, we're a military family. We're very aware of what moving our children does to their sense of belonging and community bonds. My dad was in the military as well, and from 1st to 12th grade, I lived in 6 different school districts. Already, my kids have gone through more than that than I had to. Because of all these things, full disclosure, I'm actively and intentionally not trying to get promoted at work anymore, specifically because that would mean another move for us. So with all that said, I can assure you that I am very invested in community bonds, a sense of belonging, and stability. So after we moved here and our kids got redistricted out of Crofton after only 1 school year, it was heartbreaking to see them change schools again. Over the last few plans in the county, my youngest has been in 3 elementary schools in the past 4 years. There have been many metrics shared that support stability in the home and community, and you're going to hear more today. And I agree with those. However, I think the focus of this should be to keep stable the areas and children that have had their communities affected and changed already. So whenever somebody brings up stability, please take that a step further and prioritize those that have not only already moved, but those that have moved recently and moved frequently. Separately, for someone who isn't on social media, even I have seen online anger and disdain between communities because of various issues involving these plans. The reality is that some of our families will be going to new schools. For all of us, we need to be aware of how we're voicing our displeasure and feelings at home so that it doesn't make its way into the schools in a negative way. We all rather our incoming students be welcomed rather than shunned or bullied. Thank you for your time.
Matthew Kelly.
Hi, my name is Matt Kelly. and I'm from Edgewater. We would very much like to retain our community's current school assignments in Edgewater Elementary and Central Middle School. The recurring theme through most of the testimonials this evening will have a very common thread: consistency. Consistent in the environment in which the kids are learning in, and consistent in the community in which the kids live in. I'm opposed to removing the children from Edgewater Elementary and Central Middle School only to return them to South River High School. It's inconsistent. This plan only hinders our children's development and progress in school. I'm not just talking about their social progress. I'm talking about their grades, their academic confidence, their building blocks. We work together as parents and teachers to help them stack up year after year. Our kids are resilient, we know this, but they should not be made to ensure repeated structural inconsistencies if they can be avoided. When faced with a challenge, we'll meet it, but don't put huge barriers in the way if you don't have to. The data you'll be provided with tonight is very clear. At best, moving the children out of Edgewater schools and into proposed schools doesn't move the needle. It doesn't accomplish what you've set out to do here, balance the system. At the last meeting, Dr. Bell talked about how some areas of the map look funny, like a ton of upheaval for naught. I'm here to tell you that's us. At worst, it denies our children a sense of belonging in their community and the consistency they need as they continue to learn, grow, and develop. Tonight, you'll learn more about a comprehensive report that our community has developed on the impact of the scenarios on our children. We want to make sure this conversation is worth the while. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, as you will continue to understand the people of this community are looking for the best interests of those who are truly impacted by all the changes, the children. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Leah Bruchart.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Leah Burkhardt, and I'm a parent and an active volunteer at Chapel Elementary School. I strongly oppose all three proposed redistricting options that would move students from Chapel to Odenton Elementary. Odenton's principal recently sent a letter to families acknowledging that the school is facing significant challenges in attendance, behavior, and academic performance, stating directly that Odenton has the lowest proficiency data in these areas across the district. I commend her honesty and leadership, but I am deeply concerned about placing additional strain on a school that is working to improve. Uprooting or transferring students into an environment that is already struggling does not set anyone up for success. Not the students currently at Odenton, and not those who would be redistricted there. What is more troubling is that based on enrollment projections, these redistricting will not solve the long-term capacity issue. Odenton is already expected to exceed capacity shortly, even without this change. So we are displacing children and disrupting communities for a solution that doesn't last. Chapel is a thriving school with strong academics, parent involvement, and unique programs that are making a real difference. Moving children away from that stability without a clear and long-term benefit is not responsible planning. I respectfully ask this board to reconsider these proposals and explore alternative and sustainable solutions. Let us make decisions that prioritize student success and not just numbers on a map.
Joseph Perry.
Hello, my name is Joey Perry, and I'm from Edgewater and a father of 2 young kids. Our goal is to state our current school assignments at Edgewater Elementary and Central Middle. You will hear several times tonight from my neighbors about a comprehensive, data-backed report that you will all receive when you come back from spring break. We're not asking for an overhaul, we're asking for small changes. You've heard a lot about the social and emotional impact of redistricting. This is very important, but so is balancing the system and getting it right. Our report details the flaws in the scenarios by the numbers. So for example, if our 71 elementary schoolers are relocated to Mills Parole, This Title I and community school will become overcrowded very quickly. The utilization soars to over 99% by 2033, leading to bigger class sizes and less resources for everyone, which means more redistricting and instability for us. Dr. Tobin, you said we want to get this as right as we can with regard to space in the elementary schools because we don't want to upend the community any more than we need to. You pleaded that the team leave openings for future growth in Annapolis feeders and make sure we're not cutting ourselves off at the knees. Mr. Roof, you said we are sensitive to leaving enough room in elementary. That's the biggest concern we have at that level. With the current proposal, there will be at least 700 students with only 706 seats. So keeping your quotes in mind, moving us is a non-starter. To solve this, we've identified one small and welcome change to the map so that we can easily stay at Edgewater Elementary and Mills Parole utilization goes back down to 89%. This is just one of the many examples we will be presenting in the report. Our report is clear, logical, resounding, and most importantly, actionable. Please stop the ping pong, keep Edgewater kids in Edgewater schools.
Next 5 speakers, Zach Caminiti, Layla Demerg, Marissa Britton, Leslie Brady, Ryan Caminiti.
Hello, my name is Zach Kiminity and I'm a sixth grader at Crofton Middle School. I know that there's a lot of discussion about how overcrowded the middle school is, and I want you to know that it doesn't feel crowded. Lunch was crowded at the beginning of the year, but they added a fourth lunch period and that solved the problem. Also, I've looked at the numbers and Arundel Middle School is really crowded too, so sending more kids there won't solve any problems. It just passes the problem from one community to another, and that doesn't seem fair. I also wanted to explain how much of a community Crofton is. We don't just go to school, we know that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. A little over a week ago, I attended the Harlem Wizards game. My whole family went. It was so much fun to see teachers from my elementary school, my current middle school French teacher, and the teachers that I would have at Crofton High School all playing on the same team. If you splinter our communities, events like that either won't happen or they will leave some kids feeling really excluded. In options 1, 2, and 3, kids in my neighborhood would attend Crofton schools through middle school, but then would attend Arundel High School. I can't imagine sitting at the Harlem Wizards game thinking, well, this isn't really my community. They're moving me out of here in a few years. Instead of being a positive, exciting event, it would have left me feeling unwanted, isolated, and sad. As board members, you have to make really difficult decisions. When it comes to redistricting, please, whenever possible, please make decisions that truly help kids like me feel like they are a part of a community. Please let me continue to feel that I belong in Crofton. One Crofton, thank you.
Layla Demerg.
Hello, my name is Layla Mark, and I'm a ninth grader at Crofton High School. I am here to represent all with disabilities. I have attended schools at the Crofton feeder since kindergarten, and I want you all to know that there is more to school success than the number of students at a school. State-rated capacity is not the most important factor determining our success. Since I was in kindergarten, I have worked hard to build relationships that have helped me thrive. Relationships that give me a sense of safety and belonging. Everywhere I go, my differences are obvious and always noticed. Having my friends and classmates around who know me and accept me for who I am gives me one less thing to worry about when I'm at school. I've always been smaller than my peers, but nowhere is it more visible than at high school. At Crofton, I feel safe walking the halls, safe enough that I don't feel the need to use the elevator and haven't needed the extra time I'm allowed to get from one side of the school to the other. It has helped having my older brother, his friends, and my own there to support and guide me in each new step. I know that they won't be there forever, and I need to do things on my own. However, they have given me the stepping stones that I will need to succeed in this new place. Halls and classrooms are full of life, students and teachers saying hi to each other on the way to their next class without feeling squished or rushed. Every corner I turn, I see someone I know, and it gives me a sense of security knowing that whenever I need it, there will always be someone there for me. Crofton is a community just like Arundel, and as we know, breaking a community can lead to its collapse. I see that support reflected in our unified sports. Life has always been hard on people with disabilities. However, keeping us where we feel safe plays a key role in our success. So please, as you make this decision about redistricting, remember, a number on a worksheet is nowhere near as important to student success as the sense of safety and belonging within their community. Thank you.
Marissa Britton.
Good evening. My name is Marisa Britton, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the families in the village of Galesville, specifically those along Muddy Creek, Owensville Road, Cumberstone, and Crandall Road. We are served by Bus 79 and currently attend Lothian Elementary. We are a really small, tight-knit community, and we are deeply concerned about being the only portion reassigned under scenarios 1 and 2. Fewer than 20 students would be moved, and we ask the board to reconsider, as it just does not move the needle or achieve the redistricting goals. One of the goals being shorter distances for students traveling, but under scenario 1 and 2, it achieves the opposite for our children. The current 5.6 mile ride from Bus 79 serving our Galesville area begins at 6:57 a.m., meaning our youngest students are waking up before dawn. Under these scenarios 1 and 2, that would increase our travel time by 28%, pushing morning routines even earlier. I can't imagine waking up my children even earlier than they already are. These longer bus routes can lead to fatigue, early wake-ups, long rides, student focus, mental well-being. These are all things that I think that should be taken into consideration, not to mention bus driver shortages, and the Shadyside Peninsula uniquely creates a very limited infrastructure in that area. In addition to that, looking at the optimization, we would implore you to apply a different logic to the Galesville area. This area has historically experienced fluctuating enrollment with only 2 to 4 students or school-age children just a decade ago. Today's numbers represent a peak, not a trend. According to 2024 census data, only 17% of Galesville households include children.
Please summarize.
Not all of those families attend public schools. So what I'm just trying to say is, with this small subset of students that is being moved out of Lothian Elementary, it's not moving the needle nor achieving the goals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie Brady.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name's Leslie Brady, and I'm the mother of a first grader at Edgewater Elementary and a sixth grader at Central Middle. I'm here on behalf of the Route 2 corridor, Gingerville, Poplar Point, Walla, Lenore, and Homeport. In WXY's proposed scenarios, about 71 elementary students from our neighborhoods would be reassigned from Edgewater Elementary to Mills Parole. Without considering any additional future plans, the addition of just our children would bring Mills Parole close to full capacity. This leaves no room for growth and sets the school up for future overcrowding. It's not a long-term solution. Then there's the issue of underutilization. In WXY scenarios, our 47 middle school students are being reassigned from Central Middle to Annapolis Middle. But even with those students, Annapolis Middle's capacity only increases from 51% to 54%, still significantly underutilized. Moving just 47 students to address a 759-seat deficit does little to solve the problem, yet causes real disruption to children and families. If our students remain at Central, the school remains at a healthy 87% capacity across all scenarios through 2033. Before I close, I want to also address the idea of the bridge to Edgewater being a natural border, making our neighborhoods on the Route 2 corridor easy to move around. The overpass into Annapolis is just as much a border for us. It leads us to businesses, highways, and traffic. The bridge to Edgewater is what leads us home, to our friends, our teachers, and our community. The bridge doesn't divide us, it connects us. So please, stop the ping pong. Keep Edgewater kids in Edgewater schools. Thank you for your time and for the review of our report.
Ryan Caminiti.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Caminiti, and I am a freshman at Crofton High School. I understand that the main reason we are doing this redistricting process is because AACPS is determined to get all schools below 100% of state-rated capacity. I also know that the plans put out by WXY Studio didn't at all take into account the safety of students. I want to help you understand how much less safe kids will be if you adopt options 1, 2, or 3. I participate in jazz band, symphonic band, marching band, the play, and the musical. As you can imagine, there are a lot of rehearsals for these activities, many of which end very late at night. Tech Week rehearsals for the musical and play can end after 10 p.m. When you redistrict students in a way that requires them to drive on one of the most dangerous roads in the state, you are not only decreasing their safety to and from school, you're decreasing their family safety, the student's safety before, after school, and on the weekends. You're determining in large part where their friends live and whether or not they will have to travel on unsafe roads to hang out with them. Currently, I do not travel on Route 3 at all for anything school related. None of my friends do either. Every single student at Crofton High School, except for the few who live on the other side of Route 3, could walk or bike to school if they wanted to without ever touching Route 3. If you adopted option 1, 2, or 3, you would force involved students like me and or our families to travel on Route 3 approximately 17 more times every week. The route I would need to take to get to Arundel High School has 6 times the number of accidents than the one I currently take to Crofton High School. Multiply 6 times 17 times I'd have to drive on Route 3 in a week, and you've increased my chances of being in an accident 102 times. Decreasing capacity at a school should never take precedence over the safety of entire communities. Please reject options 1, 2, and 3 and adopt Crofton's option 4. Thank you.
Next 5 speakers: Nicola Skippin, Brian Ulrich, Caroline Pembroke, Benjamin Spiker, Corey Siakura. Nicola Skippin. Brian Ulrich.
Good evening. I'm Brian Ulrich, a Reba resident, AACPS graduate, a father of a 3rd, 9th, and 11th grader. I know this process is difficult and tends to pit communities against each other, so I'm not trying to get into who deserves to go where. As a former PTO president, I urge you to prioritize students in this difficult redistricting process. I have 5 main concerns. Milestone year stability. Students entering 5th, 8th, and 12th grades should have the opportunity to stay at their current schools for these milestone years to reduce disruption. Phased implementation would better serve these students with minimal redistricting consequences. Number 2, neighborhood integrity. My neighborhood, Berkshire, is connected to Annapolis Landing and Waterford through shared resources and social ties. Redistricting should avoid splitting interconnected neighborhoods across the county to preserve vital support networks. 3, REVA's history. REVA was split in the last redistricting. We urge you to avoid repeatedly burdening the same communities and disrupting established support systems again to families who have already experienced this once. 4, enrollment projections. The projected decline in Central Middle School enrollment in the 24 master plan contradicts historical and projected growth and ignores the over 200 approved homes in the Central Middle School District, according to the latest County Office of Planning and Zoning's Development Activity Report. Underestimating growth risks this whole effort failing to address foreseeable overcrowding. Number 5, South River High School conditions. While South River has capacity post-Crofton, it's in poor condition, most notably insufficient parking and disgusting out-of-order bathrooms. This is a serious concern. If we are redistricting additional students here, especially disadvantaged ones, these issues must be addressed with capital improvements. At DES, our PTO paid to have a filter system to make the water drinkable, but the school system blocked their use due to maintenance and liability concerns. Regardless of capacity, our students deserve basic facility adequacy. Redistricting should spotlight the need for immediate and future investment in essential conditions. In closing, please recognize the profound impact your decisions have on families who make significant housing investments based on school locations. We urge you to carefully consider the lasting impact on our children and the stability of our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Caroline Pembroke.
Thank you for listening. My name is Caroline Pembroke. My family and I live 0.8 miles away from Davidsonville Elementary School on the south side of 214. In all three scenarios, we are to be redistricted to a school nearly 5 times farther away. Davidsonville Elementary School is over capacity at 103%. So yes, some students will be redistricted. What I've never come across is a reason why my children and those around us are to be included in this redistricting. Being less than a mile away from Davidsonville Elementary, there is no school closer to us. Within that 0.8 miles between us and Davidsonville Elementary, there is no there are no densely populated areas. In fact, it takes the entire zip code of 21035 to reach 83% of Davidsonville Elementary utilization. Redistricting my family and those around us does not make sense. Transportation. Every afternoon at our bus stop, I watch no less than 6 buses from Davidsonville Elementary pass our house to reach their bus routes. Allocating a separate bus to take us to a different school would make absolutely 0 sense. That extra bus would need extra time to travel the extra distance. My kids, who already have a bus stop time before 7 a.m., would have an even earlier bus stop time, spend more time on a bus, and have less time at home. Additionally, our new bus route would be a 700% increase in distance and include driving through the notorious intersection of Birdsville and Route 2, where there's no stoplight, 2 very busy lanes of high-speed traffic, accidents, sometimes fatal, on a yearly basis. This is extremely dangerous. Let's look at minimizing student disruptions. In all 3 scenarios, some students from Central Elementary are redistricted into Davidsonville, and Davidsonville is redistricted to Central Elementary School. This is the maximum disruption possible. I urge you all to revisit the scenarios and not redistrict students who there is no identifiable justification for redistricting. Please leave Davidsonville students in Davidsonville. Thank you.
Benjamin Spiker.
Good evening. My name is Ben Spiker. My daughter is a 3rd grader at Jones Elementary in Severna Park. Our community is opposed to cross-clustering Jones Elementary between Broadneck and Severna Park school districts. From a data perspective, cross-clustering Jones would not materially benefit utilization or transportation efficiency. Jones's average class size is 56 kids. They make up 12% of Severna Park Middle School. Currently, Severna Park Middle School is utilized at 95%, which is below the state maximum and projected to remain consistent for the next decade. In contrast, while Severn River Middle School is underutilized at 65%, its population is expected to grow organically over time. Moreover, even if the Jones feeder pattern changed to Severn River, it would only increase the utilization rate nominally. This nominal improvement would be grossly outweighed by the disruption it would cause to our kids. And as my neighbor, Jason Hutchison, will later explain, we believe there are better solutions the board could explore to improve Broadneck's utilization rates and student outcomes. Second, the impact of cross-clustering on transportation would be insignificant. Severna Park Middle School is only 2 miles further and 5 minutes longer of a drive from Jones than Severn River. Severn River, however, would require all Jones students to cross Ritchie Highway and turn onto College Parkway during rush hour, both congested traffic areas, which would wipe out any intended travel benefit. Finally, on a personal note, and as emphasized by Lisa Grant, I cannot overstate the negative impact this change would have on our children's development. I was lucky enough to move here from out of state in 1991 as a junior at the very newly named North County High School. That specific move was number 14 for me across 7 states. I experienced firsthand the toll that transferring schools can take on a kid. I have very few lasting friendships from my K through 12 years. I remember dreading lunch and recess. where I would have to find kids to sit or hang out with. I share this because I promised myself I wouldn't do that to my children. Thank you, and please help us keep that where we're at. Thank you.
Corey Siakura.
Hi, I'm Corey Sakira. I'm a member of the Gingerville community. I'm very excited that my oldest daughter is a future Edgewater Eagle. She's starting kindergarten at Edgewater next fall, and I'm really hoping her little sister will get the chance to follow in her footsteps. Our girls have been able to make wonderful friends through our community and church in Edgewater. Lainey is so excited to start school with all her friends this fall, which makes all of this very difficult. Obviously, we are disappointed to see that after 1 year at Edgewater, she may be switched to Mills Parole and Annapolis Middle, only to be ping-ponged back to South River for high school. Typically, I'm a stay-in-my-lane kind of person. I trust you all on the board to make great decisions for my girls, but this plan just doesn't make sense. So I'm stepping out of my comfort zone because even though you're the experts in your area, we are the experts in ours, our children and our community. We are the experts on what the scenarios do to us and how they affect the community that supports our kids. My girls are young. I'm concerned about what these changes mean for them in the long term. There's the immediate damage, which most people are focusing on, but it's the long-term instability that we can't allow. Lainey goes to Edgewater for a year, then Mills Parole. Then Mills Parole gets too crowded, which we see will happen, and then what? We bounce back to Edgewater? Then we go to Annapolis Middle, or do the middle schools also get uprooted and go back too? Back and forth, this way, that way, splitting up siblings and breaking up the community. Please stop the ping pong. For us, the numbers clearly show that scenarios guarantee more instability. The plans are short-lived at the expense of our children's sense of belonging. The report from our community will outline exactly how our area easily can stay at our assigned schools, and how, when we do, it's a long-term, stable solution that benefits groups across South County. Thank you for your time. Please stop the ping pong and let Edgewater kids belong, grow, succeed in Edgewater schools.
Next 5 speakers: Levi Weaver, Amy Bay, Jason Hutchison, Clayton Ramsey, Chad Aylshire.
I'm next, right? Okay. Hello, my name is Levi Weaver and I am a freshman at Crofton High School. I would like to compare the two high schools that you showed as overcapacity, Annapolis High School and Crofton High School. Annapolis High School was built in 1979, is currently at 99% capacity, needs 8 portable classrooms to fit all their students. Crofton High School was opened in 2020, is currently listed at 110% capacity, and has no portable classrooms. How can a school at 110% capacity require no portable classrooms? I challenge you to find an example where this has ever happened before. Despite being labeled as overcapacity, Crofton does not feel overcrowded. Our buildings have wide hallways, 2 multi-level sky bridges, multiple stairways, and our stair mountain, all of which provide 3 or 4 ways to get to every classroom. And those classrooms are huge. The number of students in my classes don't even fill all the desks. In fact, most of my classes have fewer students than my elementary school classes. At lunch on both A and B days, my best friend and I blissfully sit alone at a table with 7 seats all to ourselves. Even better, after second period, about 300 students leave the building, and while the school isn't empty, it is certainly spacious. I wonder if students at Annapolis High School feel the same way about their building. My guess is that they do not. That is because the current state rated capacity formula is flawed. It reduces capacity by 15% for all high school and middle schools, not taking into account the functionality of the school. Crofton High has the space to comfortably accommodate its 1,900 students. If you must use the flawed system, please first evaluate the 4 classrooms currently excluded from the SRC worksheet calculation and consider relocating the Office of Performance to open up additional classroom space at Crofton High. And resubmit the SRC worksheet and room template to the IAC for review. These changes would significantly affect capacity calculations. I love seeing my friends. I love going to my school. I ask you to please fix the math before removing students from their communities. Thank you.
Amy Bay.
Hi,
My name is Amy Bay, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the students and families of the Route 2 corridor and advocate for the students to remain in their current school assignments. Tonight, I'm here to speak on behalf of my 10-year-old daughter who attends Edgewater Elementary and is entering middle school next year. The entering middle school cohort has arguably had the most challenging school experience of any recent generation. My daughter was just starting kindergarten when the COVID pandemic sent her home, cutting short her critical foundation of her learning, social development, and emotional security during the most formative time of her young life. Like many of her peers, she fell behind academically. Now in 5th grade, thanks to great teachers and counselors, she has finally caught up academically and is beginning to thrive. However, under these proposed scenarios, my daughter will end up in a split articulation system, feeder system, with only 1 year at her new elementary school before being ping-ponged to a different middle school for 2 years, then being ping-ponged back to a different high school for her for high school in 9th grade. We're asking kids like her to endure repeated disruption during some of their most vulnerable years again and again. And for many of us who are military and federal families, we already are living with overwhelming unpredictability, and this adds even more stress to their young lives. As adults, it is our responsibility to protect that stability wherever we can. These children need consistency, community, and to know their well-being matters more than a place in a map. Our children deserve schools where they belong, where they can grow without disruption, and where they are given the opportunity to succeed. I urge you to stop the ping pong and keep Edgewater kids in Edgewater schools.
Jason Hutchison.
Good evening. My name is Jason Hutchison, and I'm the proud parent of 2 Jones Elementary School Foxes. Like many families at Jones, we are mixed race, mixed nationality, gifted, and special needs. Earlier this evening and on March 25th, you heard concerns from Jones parents regarding the negative impacts that would result from a double switch in clusters, not unlike Edgewater, that range from mental health to Route 2 safety, not unlike Crofton, and under 2 of the redistricting scenarios under consideration. Having graduated from a split middle school myself, I hear you, Crofton 28, I remember experiencing school-wide social dislocation and what it was like to have my classmates go to a rival high school. I moved 16 times before I got to college, so I'm right there with you on having my own lunch table. I understand student outcomes for all children is what's paramount in this process. And models place Severn River and Magathrie River Middle Schools at risk of losing funding. As parents and partners in this process, it is our role not only to raise problems, but also to help you co-create solutions. One worth exploring is the merger of the Severn and Magathrie River Middle Schools, which are co-located into a singular middle school serving a single high school. Almost 30 years ago, this board prioritized student outcomes in choosing to end the experiment with junior high and converting the 2 middle schools to serve grades 6 through 8. No doubt the focus on the children remains the same today. In this resource-constrained environment, a merger of the 2 schools could offer budgetary savings. A larger school could offer the opportunity to provide additional electives and enrichment activities that a smaller school doesn't provide. Long-range facility planning identifies the 2 schools for priority funding, and well-considered capital expenditures could be transformative for the school. Alternatively, parts of campus could be decommissioned and reauthorized for other county facility needs.
Please summarize.
Yes. Redistricting is a difficult but necessary process for any school system. As you move forward in the process, I would advocate for options that promote student outcomes for Broadneck, as well as stability and outcomes for Jones as well. Luckily, this is not a zero-sum equation. Thank you.
Clayton Ramsey.
Thank you. Good evening, board. My name is Clayton Ramsey. I am the father of two little daughters, one of whom goes to Mayo Elementary on the Mayo Peninsula. I'm representing my community mates from the Mayo Peninsula and specifically Turkey Point Island, so I'll keep this pretty focused here. The proposal outlined in all three scenarios would move kids from Turkey Point Island from Mayo Elementary School to Central Elementary, and it represents a misguided plan that, in my opinion, defies common sense and harms our community. This redistricting would inexplicably isolate TPI students from their immediate neighbors. On our road, which is Turkey Point Island Road, the front half of the island would continue to go to Mayo Elementary, while the rest of the island would be moved to Central, which makes little sense to me. The transportation logistics are particularly troubling. Our bus stop right now is 1.6 miles away from Mayo Elementary. Central would increase that threefold to 4.8 miles away. And not only that, Central Elementary School buses would need to navigate miles through the Mayo School District just to reach a dead-end road that Mayo Elementary buses would already be servicing. It creates unnecessary traffic congestion and safety concerns. And beyond the practical issues, the increased distance would force children to likely wake up earlier, compromising their essential sleep needs and academic performance while simultaneously reducing valuable family time. Research consistently shows that strong community connections, adequate sleep are both crucial for childhood development and success, yet this plan undermines both. We urge the board to maintain Turkey Point Island's current districting within Mayo Elementary, preserving our children's connection to their immediate community and ensuring their continued success. And thank you for hearing us out.
Chad Aylshire.
Thank you, board, for hearing from me. My name is Chad Alshire. I've been a community member of the Crofton area for over 20 years in the Nantucket Mews and now in the Cantor Farms off Rydell Road. I have a 15-year-old daughter at Crofton High School and a 13-year-old at Crofton Middle preparing to go to Crofton High School. In 2020, when Crofton High opened its doors to a generation of young adults that had just come out of virtual school settings as a result of COVID, this community was concerned with how they would respond. In 4 short years, those young adults have embraced the community Crofton High has created. The community saw the sense of pride they developed. They proudly wear the red and black. They fill the stadiums with spirit, and that extends to their classrooms, where that spirit is evident in their excitement for education and their future educational pursuits. They feel that they are an important part in shaping their community. They feel their impact in shaping what Crofton High stands for, and they feel a sense of belonging. Families have embraced that sense of belonging as well. Seeing our young adults want to be at school and want to attend school-related activities, seeing our young people excel in their education. This school has created that sense of belonging and that pride in their education. I ask that you consider how a change in that Crofton High community, a change that will impact that pride of school and their educational pursuits, the teachers that inspire them, and consider how a change in schools will impact their drive for future educational pursuits. Crofton High has come so far in that building of community and that sense of belonging. I ask that you consider these young adults and allow them to continue to build that pride in Crofton High. It's earned that pride. Don't take that from this community. And the Crofton softball team has asked me to end with Cardinals on 3. 1, 2, 3, Cardinals.
Next group, Jennifer Becker, Lauren Cross, Skylar Matthias, Adele Coffin, Susanna Fox. Jennifer Becker, Lauren Cross,
Hello, and thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of the Edgewater community this evening. My name is Lauren Cross. I am a resident of Gingerville. My husband and I have two daughters in AACPS, a fourth grader at Edgewater Elementary and a sixth grader at Central Middle. I am very concerned about the redistricting scenarios and their potential impact on our children. Having children ping pong between two school feeder systems is disruptive to their growth and detrimental to their sense of belonging. This is especially true for those navigating middle school and the challenges that come during those critically formative years. My oldest daughter, for example, recently made the transition to middle school and at times struggles to find her sense of belonging amongst her peers. If the proposed redistricting were approved, she would switch school feeder systems for 8th grade only, and then get switched back to her original school feeder system for high school. As an early adolescent at a vulnerable stage, I am very concerned about how this could impact her developmentally, mentally, socially, and academically. Under the proposed scenarios, my younger daughter will graduate 5th grade from Edgewater Elementary, then go to the Annapolis feeder for middle school, and then back to South River for high school. This continual ping pong has me concerned about the emotional and social development for all Route 2 corridor kids. It is essential they have that sense of belonging throughout their educational journey, and I'm concerned this plan will cause these children to feel isolated. Many of the requests tonight cannot stand alone. There are ripple effects that you all will be left to sort out, but that doesn't have to be. This move is not necessary to balance the system. The Route 2 corridor communities can remain where they are with no further adjustments required and no ripple effects. In any other scenario, if any other scenario is implemented, but you leave us where we are, the central middle school utilization in 2033 is 87%. You do not have to ping pong us, so please don't. Lastly, in a few weeks, you will receive a comprehensive report from our community. It will explain our position in more detail with facts and data. Please stay tuned. Thank you.
Skylar Matthias.
My name is Megan Mathias. This is Skylar. I'm talking for her. You've heard a lot about tonight about everything being overcrowded. That's not our situation. We're being moved from Benfield Elementary to Shipley's Choice. You're moving 9 students. Nobody's going to be in her class. None of her friends are going to be at her school. These 9 kids are all going to be the new kid. If you look at the map, we are up on the top where Benfield is. This red, there are no houses. That's a park. We live all the way here in the corner, all the way over from Shipley where we're being moved. Benfield is here. We live in the top corner above it. These houses have been established. Most of them have been there more than 20 years. Of the 2 streets that we know as our neighborhood, there's 3 kids. There will be a 3rd grader, a 4th grader, and a 5th grader. That's it. There's no more kids coming. There's no more overcrowding. Neither school is overcrowded at the moment, and neither school is predicted to be overcrowded. Shipley's right now is at 80%. Benfield's at 94%. Shipley's Choice is 99% Shipley's neighborhood. We know no one there. We're not part of that community. We're not part of that association or neighborhood. We don't know those kids. My kids and the other 8 kids that have been at Benfield for their elementary school, let us finish it out. Let us stay at Benfield. We're not overcrowded. There's no need to move us from the corner of the top of Benfield all the way over to Shipley's in the other corner. Thank you for your time.
Adele Coffin.
Good afternoon. My name is Delania Coffin, and I'm a proud mom of 3 young kids. We live on River. We're all here tonight talking about this ongoing school redistricting and the disruption that it is causing to our children, our families, and our community. I understand that the schools will lose funding if certain numbers are met. You guys have a hard task on your hands. But is this really the right way to address this issue? Drastic, because to us it seems drastic. Measures like this, redistricting, may not fix the root problems, but bring even more new problems. Riva is a small, tight-knit community, just very close by to Davisonville Elementary. That's our friends, go Gators, that's our sports, that's all where we live, we thrive. Yet, in the past 15 years, we've been shuffled back and forth a couple of times already. These disruptions don't just affect the school assignments, they are impacting friendships, stability, deep community bonds for families like mine that work so hard to be built. School is so much more than a matter of academics and numbers. We don't may remember the math lessons, but we remember our favorite teachers and our best friends. These are the people who shape who we are. Many careers are based on those relationships that we form in school. It takes time to build and strengthen those relationships, and disrupting it is very damaging. Instead of focusing on redistricting, maybe we should be asking, what are we doing to improve every schools? Because the schools' rates are drastically different from each other in Arundel. No child should face this disruption. All the schools should be able to give to the kids the best places, teachers, and resources.
Please summarize.
Finally, our country was founded on the principle of self-government, and the government exists to serve the people, not the other way around. It is our voices and our concerns that should shape policies like this. Let's come together to find solutions that build strong schools, not just drill new lines. Thank you all for tonight.
Susanna Fox.
Hello, and thank you. My name is Susanna Fox, and I live in Edgewater along the Route 2 corridor, and I'm an active member of the PTO at Edgewater Elementary, where my son is a proud second-grade Eagle, very active in school clubs. He also plays sports through South River Youth Athletics, and my husband coaches his teams. We cross the South River Bridge daily to shop, fill prescriptions, grab coffee, bank, attend church. Edgewater is our community. It is where we have planted roots. To promote stability for our son's education, we purposefully bought our house the summer before he entered preschool. See, my husband, growing up, attended 6 different schools, and as a result, he maintained no lasting school friendships, was reticent to ever join school clubs, and ultimately received an uneven education. I didn't want that for my son. Now, the proposed redistricting plan would have my son transfer out of Edgewater Elementary, a place where he has thrived for 4 years, to Mills Parole for 2 years, then to Annapolis Middle for 3 years. And just when he's starting to feel at home with his new school community, he will be ping-ponged back to South River High because Annapolis High is already and will remain over capacity. I understand that a main reason supporting this move is to increase the utilization rate in Annapolis Middle. With the inclusion of the students from the Route 2 corridor, by 2033, the projected utilization rate for Annapolis Middle will increase just 3%, bringing it to 54%, while the utilization rate for Mills Parole Elementary will soar over 99%, possibly sparking yet another call for redistricting. Removing these children from Edgewater Elementary and Central Middle does not solve any problem. Please take the time to read the comprehensive report that you will be sent. My son drew this picture that he wanted me to share with you today. It says, "What I love most about my Edgewater school, the talent show with my best friends." Please don't take that away from him. There is a better long-term solution than playing ping pong with the children of the Route 2 corridor. Keep Edgewater kids in Edgewater schools. Thank you.
Final group, Maria Moses, Ashley Eden, Ryan Baldwin, Carl Smith, Jody Carpenter. Maria Moses.
My name is Maria Jimena Moses, and I'm in South River Heights in Riva. My 3 girls go to Central Elementary. We love it there. We have had their lives disrupted since the beginning of this administration, moving their school start 2 hours earlier than when they were just 6 years old, imposing virtual classes when they didn't even have a computer, making them go to school without a bus for almost a year, then removing the bus stop from inside our community once we had a bus back. None of the explanations given to us ever made sense. There are none. But Central Elementary is not at maximum capacity, so why are we moving us to Davidsonville? And what I heard and read in newspapers, amongst multiple reasons, to balance diversity. Don't use us in the name of diversity. One of my kids has ADHD. She was diagnosed at age 4 and she's now 8. She has been working so hard to fit in. So did her teachers at Central Elementary and EIP professionals. And now that she's finally having a great year, you're undermining her progress. In 5th grade, the trauma of a school change will lead to anxiety, behavioral issues, and academic struggles again. This is not a segregated county like the superintendent said at a local newspaper. So don't play any skin color card with me, with the future of my children. I chose to come here. We all chose to come here. We know this is a predominantly white Anglo-Christian area, but we chose to be here. I don't know if any of you or Dr. Bedell will be here in a few years, but I will be here. I came 23 years ago. This is my home, and I intend to stay. I'm a single mom, Hispanic, Jewish, and drive a food truck for a living. I could use the minority car, all my children's special needs, but I'm not going to.
Please summarize.
Leave my kids at Central Elementary. Thank you.
Ashley Eden.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Eden, and I'm a new Edgewater resident, mother of 2, and soon to be 3 if this little person wants to show up. My comments echo many of the sentiments expressed during the meeting tonight, which is just keeping Edgewater kids in Edgewater schools for the security, the stability, and the sense of belonging. I'm also a nurse practitioner, and in this role, I've come to realize that my role extends far beyond the exam room. We're often the first point of care and a steady hand in times of uncertainty like this, so I'm trying to take this the best that I can. As educators, you are some of the few people that can understand that. Every day you listen, you educate, and you advocate, just like me, not for your individual students, but for the well-being of the entire community. And while my kids are very young and not quite in school yet, I do feel compelled to speak for the Route 2 corridor and my new neighbors. There isn't enough room for us at Mills Parole or Annapolis High, and my kids will likely be moved during their tenure there. But there's way too much room in Annapolis Middle School building. Uprooting the 47 Edgewater kids doesn't solve the 759 seat deficit at the middle school. And this is really the root of the issue for us, and an opportunity to identify areas where the needs and the resources coalesce. My profession is all about problem solving, so when I hear that there's 759 available seats at Annapolis Middle School, my first thought is, that is a whole lot of space, and what is the best way we can use it? I don't think it's ping-ponging 47 Edgewater kids, especially when it doesn't accomplish any of the utilization goals. We need to focus on addressing the imbalance of space by strategically reducing the middle school state-rated capacity. The strategic plan says that innovation is a core belief, and so I think we should innovate. Teacher trainings, school improvement personnel, serving students with specific needs, pre-K, shared spaces, food pantry. I'll host a CPR course there. The sky is the limit. This underutilized school can be transformed into a vibrant community hub, enhancing resource efficiency and foster stronger community ties. We will be submitting a report that offers several existing programs, new programs, example programs that we've pulled from our peers in Baltimore and Prince George's County that can find a home in the space that range from things very easy to implement to a dream come true, over the top, suggestions.
Please summarize.
They're all better than ping-ponging the 47 Edgewater kids to fill this deficit. As my neighbors have said, we really don't need to move out of Central Middle, so you can move us back to South River just like that. And we urge you review our proposal and take our considerations into account, because the rationale is sound and our solutions are feasible. Thank you.
Ryan Baldwin.
Good evening, Council. My name is Ryan Baldwin. My family and I moved to the community of Waterford and Riva in 2020, specifically to be a part of the Davidsonville Elementary community. My wife and I are Davidsonville coaches, PTO volunteers, and very active in our school, as are so many others in the Waterford community. Our kids absolutely love their school, their teachers, and have flourished there, but under all three scenarios proposed, they would be redistricted to Edgewater, resulting in earlier bus pickups, longer travel times over more populated roads. As most of you are aware, this isn't Riva's first upheaval with redistricting. 2012 brought our first split, setting half of our kids to Central and half to Davidsonville. But here we are again 13 years later, just as some of these kids are graduating high school, doing it once more. Only this time, a quarter of our kids will be sent to Edgewater, and a quarter would be sent back from Central to Davidsonville. These constant changes provide a lot of instability to our community, and frankly, since Riva does not have an elementary school, it doesn't seem the county has any idea what to do with Riva students moving forward. Our last redistrict was handled a little bit differently. A panel of parents and community leaders were put together to work with the county to formulate a change that worked for everyone. A solution was reached to both solve the utilization problem and satisfy the community. It is paramount during a process like this, where our kids are directly affected, to have back and forth with the parents to come to a solution that addresses both parties' needs. What seems to be happening here is a one-way street. We stand here and voice our concerns while you promise to listen and take them under advisement, but our questions are never answered. These forums should be changed from a one-way speech format to a Q&A town hall format. In fact, in the solicitation for this redistricting, your own documents, it's stated an advisory committee of parents from each school is required in accordance to AACPS policy. Where is this committee and who are the parents? Secondly, I wanted to call attention to the firm putting these scenarios together, WXY Studios, a firm that has historically provided scenarios to Maryland counties to not once be adopted by any of these school boards. Even our own county didn't adopt the last proposed scenarios, but here we are again discussing the options, explaining why they don't represent the best interests of our children. Furthermore, the ancillary goals of travel and assignment stability that were proposed by the county haven't been met, not even close. When a firm from New York, with no concept of our neighborhood structures, look at our kids as data points, it's no wonder this is the result of their product.
Please summarize.
So in closing, I implore each of you to really consider what all of us have been saying, change the format of these meetings, and throw out these scenarios compiled by some remote firm with no relation to our community. Put together a panel of our community leaders from all our schools and come up with a new solution that addresses the overcrowding but puts our children's education at the heart of it. Thank you.
Carl Smith.
Good evening. My name is Carl Smith. My wife and I are in the Crofton cluster with 3 children, a 9th grader, 7th, and 5th. Close to the past decade, I've coached basketball, baseball, and soccer. As a coach, numbers matter to me, but only if they're right. If someone hands me a stat sheet that says a kid isn't producing, but I know he's scoring, assisting, and leading his teammates, I'm not benching him because the numbers are off. I'm checking the math, I'm asking the questions, but because if we get the numbers wrong, we make the wrong calls. That's exactly what's happening in the Crofton High School. The state rated capacity says the school is overcrowded, but that number is based on an old calculation made when the building wasn't fully operational. It doesn't reflect rooms now used as classrooms. It doesn't account for nearly 300 students who leave each day for CAT South, ROTC, or half-day schedules. And as someone whose wife is a counselor at CAT North and also coaches cheerleading at Crofton High School, I can tell you these programs matter and they move students in and out of buildings every day. When you factor all that in, Crofton High School is operating closer to 89 to 91% capacity. That's not overcrowded, it's functional. I coach kids who come from all surrounding Crofton elementary schools. They grow up playing together, as we have all done as parents, attending each other's birthday parties and dreaming of wearing Crofton red. Option 4 keeps that dream alive for my kids, your kids, and for the future of one Crofton. That's what option 4 does. It starts by correcting the math. From there, it keeps communities together, feeder patterns intact, and students off dangerous roads like Route 3. It minimizes disruption and strengthens the ties that already exist across all Crofton schools. This is personal for me. My mom is a retired teacher from Anne Arundel County Public Schools and still substitutes today. My family believes in the power of strong communities. I coach kids who grew up dreaming and wearing Crofton red because they played together since they were 5 years old. They're not numbers on a worksheet. They're teammates, they're friends, and they belong together. Let's get the math right. Let's make decisions based on facts, not assumptions, and let's protect the community we've worked so hard to build. Please support option 4. Thank you.
Jody Carpenter.
Good evening. My name is Jody Carpenter. I'm a parent in the Crofton cluster, and I'm also a professional real estate appraiser. My job is to understand how neighborhoods function, how communities grow, and how infrastructure impacts property values and quality of life. From that lens, I want to emphasize one thing. Route 3 is not just a road. It's a major physical, developmental, and psychological boundary, and it should have always been the dividing line in this redistricting process. The Crofton side of Route 3 is built out. There's little land left for major residential expansion. That means enrollment trends here are predictable and stable. In contrast, west of Route 3, especially in areas like Two Rivers and Odenton, we're seeing ongoing and proposed development at a pace that's difficult to forecast. Over 370 new homes are already in the pipeline just in Two Rivers alone, and we all know more are likely coming. Redistricting that ignores this growth risks throwing families into a cycle of instability. If we don't plan ahead now, we'll be right back here in a few years, disrupting students, shifting boundaries, and fracturing communities all over again. Option 4 respects the reality on the ground. It sets Route 3 as the clear dividing line, keeping communities like Two Rivers and the Arundel cluster where growth is still expected and can be accommodated, and maintaining stable boundaries for Crofton where capacity can hold long term. It also improves safety. Anyone who lives here knows Route 3 is one of the most dangerous roads in our region. Asking more students to cross it daily, especially when it's about to undergo years of construction, isn't just inconvenient, it's reckless. Option 4 gives us a redistricting plan that's grounded in logic, growth data, and lived experience. It's not perfect, no option will be, but it's the most responsible and sustainable solution for all involved. Please support option 4. Thank you.
Okay, are either Nicola Skippin or Jennifer Becker here? Okay, then that completes the list of speakers for this evening. Dr. Heiser, I'll turn it back to you for some closing comments.
Once again, thank you for coming out. You have a lot of choices to make every evening. People are extremely busy, and I want to say thank you. I also want to thank our board members that are able to be here tonight. Thank you for being here the entire night. And once again, I want to reiterate, we make sure this is obviously going to be videoed and taped, and make sure that Dr. Bedell hears and listens to everything. And I'll be sharing also feedback to him on the things that I heard. I do want to, again, make sure that people are submitting. I heard a number of times there are some reports that people want to submit. We want to honor those reports. We want to make sure that you submit those through the tool if you can. If you run into any issues with that, please let us know. We're happy to make sure that those are able to be submitted. We want to make sure that there's kind of a formalized process and not necessarily isn't coming through email from a variety of directions. So once again, thank you for coming out. I believe our next community evening is at Annapolis Middle School.
Correct.
On April the 29th, and that'll be at 6 o'clock. All right. So once again, thank you. And thank you for such a respectful environment tonight and sharing your thoughts and comments. Thank you.